Hello, I'm so glad you found your way here. A quiet corner in a world that moves too fast. In this place, you don't need to try, you don't need to think, and you don't need to do anything at all. Just breathe slowly and let everything become still as your thoughts fade away like morning mist dissolving over a calm lake. Maybe today has been a long day, filled with sounds, faces, and thoughts that wouldn't rest. But that's all right now. Everything can pause here, in this slow moment, where only your breath, your heartbeat, and the gentle embrace of the earth remain. Imagine looking at our planet from afar, floating in the dark silence of space. The earth would appear as a small glowing sphere, fragile yet radiant, blue and white, and shimmering softly like a living jewel suspended in darkness. Every rotation of this planet is a long breath, steady, ancient, and full of life. And right there on its surface, you are lying, breathing in with the forests and breathing out with the seas. The air in your lungs once flowed through trees, across mountains, through the oceans, and inside countless living beings before you. Every drop of water you drink once drifted in clouds, fell as rain seeped into the soil, and found its way back again and again. If you place your hand over your heart, you'll feel its rhythm calm and consistent. Let that rhythm slow, aligning with the rotation of the earth. Each beat carries the memory of life itself, the echo of ancient oceans of ancestors whose hearts once beat beneath the same stars. Your body is part of this planet, built from ancient atoms, forged in the hearts of long-dead stars. You are made of soil, of air, of sea, and of silence. And when you rest, it is the earth that cradles you, a vast cradle moving through space, rocking you softly into sleep. Outside, the atmosphere wraps around the world like a gentle blanket. It holds warmth, protects what is fragile, and keeps life safe from the cold of space. Beneath that blanket, the wind wanders, waves roll over themselves, and leaves tremble quietly in the breath of night. Nothing is hurried. Every motion follows the rhythm of balance, slow, even, and full of grace. When you truly listen, you'll realize that silence is not emptiness. It is a fullness, a space where every sound begins. It is the breath between two heartbeats, the quiet pulse of the world. The earth never really sleeps. When one side rests in shadow, the other wakes to light. While you lie here, the forests keep exchanging air, the oceans keep breathing, the volcanoes sigh deep beneath the crust, and the wind keeps carrying water across the sky. Life does not stop. It simply changes tempo, moving from the busy rhythm of day to the gentle lull of night. And tonight, that lull is calling you. Feel the air around you, light, cool, and kind. It touches your skin, the way twilight touches the sea, softly and without rush. Now, let your body sink deeper into the bed beneath you. The weight on your shoulders melts away, the tension in your forehead softens. With each breath out, you release the heaviness of the day. With each breath in, you invite peace a little deeper into your chest. Your mind doesn't need to quiet itself. It will settle on its own like a slow-moving cloud leaving the sky. There's nowhere to go, nothing left undone. Only this stillness and the tender rhythm of a living planet surrounding you. The earth keeps turning, carrying you with it through the vast ocean of space. You are not an observer tonight. You are part of this rhythm, part of this song that has no beginning and no end. The planet is breathing its voice, hidden in the rustle of wind, in the hush of waves, and the long silence of the stars. Let yourself move with it. Let your eyes grow heavy, falling closed like a leaf, drifting to the ground. No effort, no hurry. Sleep will come the way sunset fades into night, slowly, deeply, peacefully. And even as you sleep, the world continues its story. The trees whisper, the oceans hum, and deep inside you, the quiet heartbeat of the earth keeps time. You are not alone in the dark. You are resting in the arms of this planet, soft, turning, alive. So sleep now, gentle traveler of the blue world. The earth will watch over you, rocking you in its endless rhythm, steady and kind until the morning light returns. Somewhere in the calm, sun-warmed waters of the Mediterranean Sea, a tiny creature drifts slowly, almost invisible to the human eye. It is smaller than a fingernail, clear as glass, and moves with a rhythm so delicate that the ocean itself seems to breathe around it. Its name is Turritopsis dohrnii, though most know it by another name, the immortal jellyfish. And while it may look fragile, it carries within it one of the most extraordinary secrets of life, the ability to begin again. When most living things reach the end of their journey, time moves in only one direction forward. Cells age, energy fades, and nature continues its endless cycle of renewal and decay. But this jellyfish, floating gently beneath the moonlit waves, lives by a different rhythm. When it is hurt old or under threat, it doesn't surrender to death. Instead, it quietly retreats inward, transforming itself, reversing its own clock. Its body melts back into its earliest form, a tiny polyp clinging softly to the ocean floor, ready to grow again as if nothing had ever happened. It is not true immortality. No creature escapes every danger, but it is a soft defiance of time itself, a quiet whisper against the inevitability of endings. Scientists have watched it happen in laboratories, one small being resetting its life over and over again, as though the story of its existence were written in loops instead of lines. And in that loop, there is something poetic, a reminder that nature's language is not about permanence, but transformation. If you were to see one, you might not even notice it. Transparent, it catches light in a way that makes it almost vanish. But under the right angle, it glows faintly like a drop of living moonlight drifting through the dark. It has no brain, no heart, and no eyes, yet it has found a way to persist, to begin again when the world becomes too much. And somehow that feels deeply human, doesn't it? The quiet wish to start over, to return to a moment of youth, to heal from what has worn us down. Beneath the surface, the ocean hums softly around it. Tiny currents weave invisible paths, carrying plankton, salt, and fragments of light. The jellyfish moves with them, not against them, never rushing, never resisting. Its body pulses in perfect rhythm, with the sea like a breath that never ends. To watch it is to understand something simple, yet profound, that life doesn't always move in straight lines. Sometimes it circles back, not to repeat, but to remember. Scientists still don't fully understand how it does this. Inside, its body cells seem to forget their age, returning to an earlier, simpler state. It is as if time loosens its grip for a while, allowing the jellyfish to slip free and start anew. That act, delicate and silent, is one of the most remarkable things we know of in the living world. Yet it happens without noise, without spectacle, just a shimmer beneath the waves, unseen by most eyes. Maybe that's the most beautiful part. It doesn't need to be seen. It doesn't need applause or recognition. It simply exists, doing what it has always done, guided by the deep rhythm of the sea. In its silence, it teaches a quiet truth that renewal does not need to be grand. It can happen gently in the stillness between one heartbeat and the next. When night falls over the Mediterranean, the surface of the sea turns smooth as glass. The stars above mirror themselves below, and in that reflection, the immortal jellyfish drifts ageless, timeless, moving in the glow of starlight that touches the water. Perhaps it doesn't know what it is or what it does, but it continues calmly, softly, reminding the ocean that beginnings are never truly lost. And maybe, as you lie here listening, you can feel a little of that same rhythm, the sense that no matter how tired you are, no matter what the day has taken from you, something within you also knows how to begin again. Your body renews itself constantly, skin healing, blood flowing cells, quietly replacing themselves. Life in its own way is always circling back, offering small chances to start over again and again. So tonight, as your breath grows slower, imagine that tiny creature drifting somewhere far away, carried by the same planet that carries you. It doesn't fight the current. It doesn't cling. It simply lets go. And in letting go, it finds the strength to be born again. Let that thought rest with you, that there is no rush, no final ending, only gentle transitions one into another. Time moves differently underwater. It doesn't tick or chime. It sways, it hums, it folds softly into itself. And maybe that's how it moves through us too, quietly, patiently, waiting for us to notice that even as one part of life fades, another quietly begins. The immortal jellyfish is not here to prove anything. It exists as a whisper in the great conversation of life, a reminder that endings can also be beginnings, that even in the smallest, most fragile form, there can be infinite grace. Now breathe slowly. The waves are still moving. The sea is still awake. Somewhere in the quiet dark, a tiny creature is drifting back into its childhood, and the earth keeps turning softly, as if to lull you both into sleep. If you ever find yourself walking deep into a forest, truly deep where the air smells of rain and roots and time itself, you might feel something quiet waiting beneath the surface. The wind moves softly through the trees, birds settle for the night, and everything seems still. But underneath your feet, something extraordinary is happening. A conversation, slow, silent, and ancient, is unfolding below the soil. There in the darkness, between roots and stones, live countless delicate threads, known as mycorrhizae, thin, fungal filaments, so fine that thousands could pass through the eye of a needle. These filaments weave through the ground like strands of invisible silk, connecting tree to tree, bush to bush, life to life. Through this hidden network, trees share nutrients, send warnings, and even whisper signs of distress. It's not a fairy tale, it's a biological truth. Scientists call it the Wood Wide Web, a vast underground system that allows the forest to communicate not in words or sounds, but in chemistry and light in sugars and signals. When one tree is thirsty, its neighbors may send water through the network. When insects attack a leaf, the nearby trees begin to prepare their defenses before the danger even reaches them. Every pulse, every exchange is a quiet act of care, a reminder that life at its core is not competition but cooperation. Above the ground, The forest seems made of individual, separate trunks, distinct canopies, each standing in its own patch of sunlight. But below the surface, they are one. The roots intertwine like fingers, holding hands in the dark. Carbon, nitrogen, and messages flow through this network, the way thoughts flow through a mind. The forest is not a collection of trees. It is a living organism, breathing through many lungs, thinking through many hearts. Among them are the elders, the so-called mother trees. They are old, tall, and wise in the quiet language of life. Their roots run deep, their branches stretch wide. Through the fungal threads, these mother trees send sugars and water to their younger kin, the seedlings, struggling in the shade, the saplings reaching for light. They feed them, not because they must, but because the forest depends on the balance between generations. A mother tree may give more than it takes, pouring its stored energy into those who will one day replace it. And when a tree's time comes to an end, it does not fall in silence. In its final days, it releases what remains of its stored carbon, its nutrients, and its strength into the web beneath it. Even as it fades, it sustains others. Its life continues, passed along through threads and roots. The forest's quiet heartbeat. Nothing is truly lost. It is only transformed. If you truly listen, you might feel it, the sense that the forest is aware, not in the way that we are, but in a deeper, older sense of connection. Every tree, every mushroom, every leaf participates in the same silent rhythm. They know when to grow, and when to rest, when to share, and when to hold back. Together, they form a great pulse, slow, steady, almost like breathing. Sometimes when sunlight filters through the leaves in the late afternoon, the whole forest glows with a golden hush. You can almost sense the conversation, one that began long before you arrived and will continue long after you're gone. The trees are not speaking in words, yet they are telling the oldest story there is of survival, of generosity, of the deep truth that nothing lives alone. It's humbling to realize that beneath every step you take, the ground is alive, threaded with life, thought, and quiet intention. Beneath moss and roots below, rocks and fallen branches, lies an entire world of exchange. A forest isn't just a place you walk through. It's a vast breathing body, every trunk, a limb, every leaf, a cell, every thread, a nerve, carrying the pulse of the planet. At night, when the air cools and fog gathers low between the trunks, the forest doesn't fall asleep. It slows, it sighs, it listens. Water trickles softly from root to root. The fungi pulse with faint electrical currents, almost like thoughts passing in the dark. The forest dreams not in images, but in chemistry, in growth, in rhythm. And maybe as you lie here listening, you can imagine yourself part of that network too. After all, you are breathing what the trees give, and they are breathing what you release. You are connected to the forest, to the air, to the vast cycle of life beneath your feet. When you inhale, the trees exhale. When you exhale, the trees inhale. The boundary between you and the forest softens until it disappears. So tonight, let that thought settle like mist around you. You are not alone, and neither are they. Life everywhere is reaching for life, quietly, patiently, endlessly. Beneath every forest floor, beneath every field, the earth is whispering to itself. And if you close your eyes, you can almost hear it, the slow, steady murmurs of roots and threads and hearts, all breathing together in the dark. Sleep now, little wanderer. The forest will keep speaking softly, endlessly, long after your thoughts fade into dreams. Somewhere unseen on a patch of moss, in a droplet of rainwater, or on the back of a leaf shining under morning light, lives one of the most extraordinary creatures on earth. It is smaller than a grain of sand, yet it carries a quiet strength greater than almost anything we know. It is called the tardigrade, though many call it by a gentler name, the water bear. You wouldn't notice it if you tried. It's nearly invisible, without a microscope, but beneath its tiny wrinkled body lies one of nature's most astonishing secrets, the ability to survive the impossible. The tardigrade moves slowly, lumbering on 8 stubby legs, like a creature from a dream. Under magnification, it almost looks soft, a miniature bear drifting through a world of water and light, but its appearance hides an incredible resilience. It can endure extremes that no other form of life can. Freezing temperatures close to absolute zero, boiling heat, crushing pressure deeper than the ocean floor, deadly radiation, even the vacuum of space itself. In 2007, scientists launched a group of tardigrades into orbit. They drifted beyond the safety of Earth's atmosphere, exposed to cosmic rays and the emptiness of the universe. When the mission returned, the tardigrades were still alive. They had not only endured, they had waited, waiting, as if asleep for the moment when life could begin again. Their secret lies in something called cryptobiosis, a word that sounds almost magical, but is entirely real. When faced with extreme danger, tardigrades perform a quiet miracle. They dry themselves out, completely curling into tiny glassy forms called tons. Inside this state, their metabolism slows to nearly zero. The processes of life pause, but do not end. They don't die. They simply wait. And they can wait for years, even decades. Then, with a single drop of water, they awaken. Their bodies fill their cells, rehydrate, and the rhythm of life begins once more. It's as if the universe pressed pause on their existence, and at the touch of moisture, pressed play again. There's something beautifully peaceful about that. No fear, no struggle, just the patience to be still until the moment is right. In a world where everything races forward, where even we often feel swept by time and noise, the tardigrade teaches a quieter kind of endurance. Not the strength to fight, but the strength to wait. Imagine one resting on a thin film of water beneath a patch of moss. Around it, the world might burn or freeze, flood or dry, yet it endures. Its body folds into a tiny sphere, shimmering faintly under the microscope's light. Its heartbeat slows its cells, hold their breath, and time itself seems to stop around it. There in the stillness, it becomes something eternal. Scientists have tried to test the limits of this patience. They've frozen tardigrades for years, and still they awaken. They've placed them under pressures greater than those at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, and still they endure. They've bathed them in radiation powerful enough to destroy human DNA, and yet these small wrinkled beings survive. In every way they seem to whisper, "You can take everything from me, light, warmth, air, even time, and still I will return." It's humbling, isn't it? To think that something so small, so overlooked could outlast nearly everything. They don't roar or rise, they simply persist. And in their quiet persistence, they hold a lesson that feels almost spiritual. that life does not always need to move forward to survive. Sometimes it endures by being still. If you close your eyes, now imagine yourself as light as they are, floating between grains of sand, between worlds too small for sight. The air feels soft at the ground, a universe of crystals and droplets. You are tiny, yet infinite. Time slows until it becomes silence. You're not gone, only waiting, resting in the pause between one breath and the next. The tardigrade is not immortal in the way myths imagine. It can still be destroyed, still end, but its endurance tells a deeper truth that life is not measured by length, but by resilience, by the ability to return after everything seems lost. It doesn't fight against the universe. It trusts it. It waits for water, for warmth, for the gentle signal that it is time to awaken again. Maybe that's something we too can carry. When life feels cold or heavy, when everything seems to stop moving, perhaps we are not failing. Perhaps we are just in our own kind of cryptobiosis, waiting quietly for the moment when light returns, when something soft and kind touches our skin and the world begins again. So tonight, as your thoughts drift like dust through still water, let the tardigrade remind you that stillness is not the end. It is the promise of another beginning. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to pause. And when the morning comes, when the first drop of light falls across your face, you too will awaken. Somewhere deep within, a drop of dew, a tardigrade stirs. Slowly, softly, it begins to move again. The tiniest heartbeat in an infinite world. Life continues, quiet, patient, and undefeated. Take a slow, easy breath. The air slips quietly into your lungs, fills you, and then drifts away again, calm, invisible, effortless. It feels so natural that it's easy to forget what a miracle it is. Yet more than 2 billion years ago, this very air, the oxygen that now sustains you, was poison. The sky then was not blue, but hazy and dim, filled with gases that would choke us now. The oceans were dark and heavy with iron, and the creatures that lived in them knew nothing of air or breath or wind. They were small, ancient, and complete in their own quiet way, thriving in a world where oxygen, the gift of life to us, was death to them. Then in the still waters of a young earth, something tiny began to change everything. Little blue-green beings, called cyanobacteria, started to capture sunlight, and through a slow, silent miracle, they turned that light into energy. With each breathless flicker of life, they released something new, oxygen, into the sea. At first it went unnoticed, just another ripple in time, but slowly over centuries that stretched beyond measure, that oxygen began to build. It filled the water, it met the iron, and together they painted the oceans red with rust. The planet itself was changing color, and though no one saw it, life had begun to rewrite its own story. When the oceans could hold no more, the oxygen rose out of the water and into the sky. It mixed with the air, and for the first time the earth learned how to breathe. But with that breath came tragedy. The creatures that had thrived without oxygen could not survive in its presence. One by one they disappeared. The great oxidation event, as scientists now call it, was both creation and destruction, a quiet catastrophe that ended nearly all life yet opened the door for everything that would follow. The poison of one world became the foundation for another, and from that change came us. Oxygen allowed life to grow larger, to move, to think, to dream. It made space for forests and oceans, for wings and voices and hands. It made it possible for you here and now to inhale softly and feel the cool air of a planet that had to die a little before it could live again. Every breath you take tonight carries the memory of that transformation, the whisper of cyanobacteria under a young sun, the slow turning of tides that turned death into possibility. If you listen closely, you can almost hear it, not as sound, but as rhythm, the rhythm of a planet breathing in and out, patiently through the ages. The forests breathe in what we release, and we breathe in what they give back. It's a quiet exchange that never ends, a reminder that nothing on this planet truly belongs to one alone. Every breath you take has been shared before with trees, with clouds, with waves, with the unseen life that came long before us. The air moves endlessly, from lungs to leaves to oceans, and back again, carrying within it the memory of every living thing. And so, as you breathe now slowly and deeply, you are part of that same story, a continuation of the great turning that began in silence more than 2 billion years ago. What was once poison has become peace. What once destroyed now gives you life. The air that fills you is ancient and kind, shaped by time and patience. Let it move through you without effort, without thought, like the soft current of a tide at rest. You are breathing history. You are breathing the memory of survival. Let that thought rest with you as you drift. The world has changed before, and it will change again, but life always finds a way to continue, softer, wiser, gentler than before. Every inhale carries the echo of creation. Every exhale returns a quiet thank you to the sky. Breathe, and let the ancient rhythm of the earth carry you into stillness. The same oxygen that once ended worlds now watches over you, holding you in its quiet, invisible arms. Sleep now, and let the breath of a patient planet guide you home. In the quiet corners of the earth, where the soil is thin and poor, life has found another way to survive. There in misty swamps and rain-soaked meadows, some plants have learned an art that feels almost impossible, the art of hunting. They are delicate still and patient, yet they live by capturing the smallest movements of the living world around them. These are the carnivorous plants, the silent hunters of the botanical realm, where survival takes the shape of quiet precision. Imagine the Venus flytrap resting with its green jaws open under the afternoon sun. It waits motionless, not with hunger, but with awareness. Each lobe of its trap is lined with fine hairs, tiny sensors tuned to the gentlest touch. When an unsuspecting insect lands and brushes against them, once nothing happens, the plant waits. But if it touches a second time, the trap snaps shut, not in anger, not in violence, but in a calm, perfect response. It knows the difference between accident and opportunity. It counts to 2. Inside the closed trap, the insect struggles for a moment, then grows still. The plant does not hurry. It takes days to digest what it has caught using enzymes instead of teeth, patience instead of force. When the process is complete, the trap opens once more, clean and ready, as though nothing ever happened. And so it continues, silently season after season, a slow rhythm of hunger and renewal. Elsewhere in the soft heat of tropical rainforests, another kind of hunter waits the pitcher plant. Its leaves curve gracefully into deep cups filled with nectar and water. The surface glistens in the light smooth as glass. An insect, drawn by the sweetness, leans too far, slips, and falls inside. The walls are slick, impossible to climb. The water below, calm, and still conceals what happens next. The plant does not move. It only holds, and slowly, patiently, it takes what it needs. In the stillness of that green world, even death happens softly. Then there is the sundew, a name that sounds like morning, though its beauty hides its purpose. Its leaves are covered with tiny shining droplets that glitter like dewdrops at dawn. But these drops are not water. They are glue, delicate glistening traps of sweetness and patience. When a small insect lands, it finds itself caught. The leaf curls gently, almost tenderly, wrapping around its prize. The sundew never rushes. It moves with the grace of time itself, dissolving its meal over hours, maybe days. From the outside, it looks peaceful. Only nature knows the quiet tension hidden within that stillness. These plants do not chase, do not bite, do not tear. They wait. Their power lies not in speed or strength, but in awareness and the ability to exist so quietly that life itself comes to them. And perhaps that is why they seem so mesmerizing. They blur the line between stillness and motion, between gentleness and survival. They remind us that even the calmest things can hold extraordinary power. If you were to walk through a field of them at dusk, you wouldn't hear a sound, only the hum of insects, the distant breath of wind, the soft trickle of water through moss. Yet beneath that stillness, life and death are happening in perfect balance. The plants are awake, but not restless. Their patience is their weapon, and their silence is their wisdom. As you listen now, maybe you can feel a bit of that same stillness, that unhurried awareness that fills the air in places where nature moves at its own slow rhythm. Everything has its timing. Every motion, even the smallest, belongs to something greater. The plants do not fight their world. They live in complete harmony with it. So, breathe slowly and imagine those quiet hunters resting under the stars. Their traps glisten with dew. Their leaves fold softly with the night breeze. Somewhere in the darkness, a tiny fly lands, and the cycle begins again, soundless, beautiful, inevitable. It is not cruel. It is simply life doing what it must, in the calmest way it knows how. Let that thought soothe you, that even in a world that can be harsh, there are still moments of balance, of quiet purpose, of patient endurance. The Venus flytrap, the pitcher, plant the sundew, they do not rush. They do not force, they simply wait. And maybe tonight you can too. Let yourself rest like the forest. Let the world move around you slowly, gently, without demand. Life continues quietly, just as it has for millions of years, still watchful and at peace. Hold a leaf in your hand and let the soft light pass through it like a gentle breath. The green glows from within veins, spreading in delicate patterns, tiny rivers carrying water and sunlight across its thin body. Some veins are wide and strong, others fine as threads of silk, yet all flow together, quiet and certain. This is how the leaf lives, not with sound or haste, but with balance, with quiet motion, hidden beneath stillness. Inside it breathes. Tiny openings on its surface, invisible to your eyes, open and close throughout the day, taking in carbon dioxide, letting out oxygen. They do this without thought, without effort, following only the slow rhythm of light and shadow. When the sun rises, the leaf wakes. When night falls, it rests. It has no voice, yet it speaks in the softest language of all the rhythm of life itself. Within its cells, a miracle unfolds every moment. The green pigment chlorophyll catches the light and turns it into energy. It gathers sunlight, water, and air, weaving this into sugar, the quiet beginning of everything that grows. From this small act, forests rise, oceans breathe, and every living thing, even you, continues. What seemed so fragile in your hand is in truth one of the most powerful engines of life this planet has ever known. No two leaves are the same. Even on a single branch, each one holds its own pattern, its own slight shade, its own memory of the wind. Each is unique, shaped by the light it has received and the days it has endured. And yet all share the same purpose: to turn light into life, to turn stillness into sustenance. They are soft but unyielding, small yet infinite in their patience. If you stand beneath a tree and look up, you'll see sunlight sifting through thousands of these small green lives. The light dances filtered and gold, painting the air with warmth. The forest hums with quiet energy, a music too gentle to hear, but easy to feel. Every rustle is a breath. Every shimmer of green is the sound of the earth staying alive. When evening comes, the leaves grow still. They rest beneath the dimming sky, folding slightly as the air cools. The day's light, now stored in their veins, becomes food for the tree, for the soil, for the world. Even as night deepens, their work continues silent and unseen. They do not rush, they do not tire. They simply keep breathing for us all. And when at last a leaf falls, it does not mourn. It drifts gently through the air, turning slowly, weightless as a sigh. It lands softly on the ground, becoming food for the roots that once fed it. In falling, it completes the circle, returning to the soil, returning to the beginning. Nothing is wasted. Even its end is an offering. As you breathe now, you are part of that same rhythm. The air in your lungs was once inside a leaf, and before that, it was sunlight. Every breath is a thread in the endless weaving of life, soft, invisible, eternal. The leaf, the tree, the wind, and you all sharing the same quiet cycle of giving and receiving. So close your eyes and let that thought rest within you. Let your breath move as slowly as the trees breathing in the night. The world is alive in its calmest form, steady, kind, and endlessly patient. Somewhere beyond your window, a million leaves are still turning starlight into air. And as they do, the planet breathes the forest dreams, and you too can drift into that same gentle sleep. When night falls over the ocean, the world becomes quiet in a way that only the sea understands. The wind softens, the horizon fades, and the sound of waves turns into a slow, steady heartbeat. You stand on the shore, bare feet sinking into the cool sand, and you notice something strange. As the water moves, it glows. Every ripple that touches the shore shines blue, as if the ocean were holding starlight in its hands. It is not imagination, and it is not magic. It is life. Tiny creatures called bioluminescent plankton, invisible by day, radiant by night, are lighting up the waves. When disturbed by motion, by the brush of water, or the stroke of a hand, they release a flash of cold blue light. Not fire, not electricity, just biology at its most beautiful. The sea in the dark becomes a canvas of soft light and movement, a mirror of the sky above. On the shores of the Maldives, in Puerto Rico, in bays where the nights are still and the tides gentle, the water glows with every touch. Each step you take, each wave that curls and breaks, sets off a tiny burst of luminescence. It's as if the sea is smiling back at the stars, wave after wave, light after light, a living reflection of the cosmos. Even the fish that move through it leave behind glowing trails, their paths like silent comets swimming through blue fire. Scientists call this light bioluminescence, the result of a delicate chemical reaction between luciferin and oxygen sparked by an enzyme aptly named luciferase. But to those who stand beneath the dark sky, it feels like more than chemistry. It feels like the ocean breathing light. The glow lasts only a moment, then fades like a sigh. Yet it happens over and over, millions of times each night, as if the sea itself cannot stop dreaming. There is something deeply peaceful in watching it. You don't just see the light, you feel it like the pulse of something vast and alive. The darkness of the world softens, and for a while you realize that even shadows can shine. In every flicker, in every soft spark, rolling across the surface, there is a reminder that life is still moving, quiet, ancient, unending. The light you see tonight has been glowing in the ocean for millions of years. Long before stars had names, before the first whispers of human language, the plankton were already shining. They lit the waves, for creatures long vanished, glowing trails, for passing whales, for ancient fish, for the slow drifting of time itself. It is a light that has never gone out, only changed hands, passed down from one wave to another. If you were to reach your hand into the glowing water, you'd see your fingers shimmer as though they belonged to something celestial. Every droplet that falls from your skin carries its own small galaxy of light. For a brief moment, you hold the universe in your palm, bright, cold, and impossibly alive. And when the light fades, it leaves a kind of stillness in its place, not emptiness, but calm, like a sigh between heartbeats. The sea at night is never loud. It speaks softly in ripples and whispers. It doesn't demand attention, it invites it. You can stand there for hours, watching the glow come and go, never the same twice. The ocean does not rush. It breathes in cycles, patient and unhurried. Every flicker you see is a heartbeat of the planet, a quiet reminder that even the smallest forms of life hold beauty beyond measure. When the moon rises higher and the tide begins to pull away, the glowing fades, the sea returns to darkness, but the memory of the light lingers in your eyes and your mind, in the slow rhythm of your breath. You realize that the light was never gone. It's only waiting to be stirred again. Like all things in nature, it rests, then awakens, then rests once more. As you stand there, you can feel how small and connected everything truly is. The stars above the waves, below the tiny living sparks between them, and you breathing in their rhythm. Life has always found a way to shine, even in the darkest corners of the earth. The glowing sea is not a miracle born from magic, but from patience, from millions of years of gentle, unseen work beneath the waves. So breathe slowly and let that light find a place in you. The same oxygen you inhale once moved through the ocean, through creatures that glowed in the night. The same atoms that shimmer on the waves now flow through your veins. You are a part of the same story, one of quiet radiance, one of life that never stops finding ways to shine. The waves continue their slow, endless rhythm. The stars shimmer above, the sea answers below, and the night becomes a conversation between light and darkness. Somewhere beneath that glowing surface, life stirs and breathes, tiny and eternal. The ocean smiles, the world exhales, and you standing there in the soft blue glow can finally let go. Close your eyes. The sea is still glowing even behind your eyelids. The world is breathing in color, and as the waves whisper against the shore, you drift quietly, gently into sleep, carried by the same rhythm that makes the ocean shine. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this your body, not as a single being, but as an entire world, a living planet of oceans and forests, mountains and rivers, storms and calm skies. Every heartbeat is a sunrise, every breath a tide that comes and goes. And within this small, quiet planet, within you, lives an entire universe. Inside your skin, in your lungs, in your gut, even upon your eyelashes, trillions of tiny creatures are living their lives. They are not enemies, not invaders, but partners, unseen travelers that have been with you since the moment you were born. There are more of them than there are human cells in your entire body, more citizens of this inner world than there are people on earth. They eat, grow, divide, and die all without you ever noticing. They live in great cities made of your intestines, in soft valleys, upon your skin, in warm oceans of your bloodstream, and somehow they keep you alive. They digest your food, turning what you eat into nourishment. They build vitamins that your body cannot make on its own. They whisper messages to your immune system, teaching it when to defend and when to rest. They even reach into your mind, influencing your mood, your energy, perhaps even your dreams. It's strange to think that you are never truly alone, that even in your quietest moments, entire populations are living, working, and sleeping inside you. They are so small that millions can fit upon the head of a pin. Yet without them, you could not exist. Your body is not just yours. It is an ecosystem, a collection of countless forms of life, moving together in harmony. If you were to shrink yourself down small enough to drift through your own bloodstream, you would see a landscape more beautiful than any world we've ever explored. Red blood cells flowing like rivers carrying oxygen as bright as sunlight, white cells drifting like slow, patient guardians. Along the walls of your gut, trillions of microbes glimmering faintly, trading molecules like messages, feeding, multiplying, forming patterns as intricate as coral reefs. It would feel like flying over a living planet, one that breathes with you, one that moves with your every thought. Sometimes when you feel tired or unwell, it may be because this tiny world is out of balance. The microbes, like forests, can be disturbed by change, by what you eat, by how you rest, by what you feel. But they are resilient, adaptable, endlessly creative. They rebuild, they regrow, they find new patterns. Life inside you never truly stops. It simply reorganizes, like clouds shifting shape across the same wide sky. The truth is, you're not just a person, you're a collective, a vast symphony of life, playing together in perfect, invisible rhythm. When you breathe, they breathe. When you sleep, they rest with you. And though they have no eyes, they move toward balance the same way you do, seeking harmony in the quiet dark. Scientists sometimes call this inner world the microbiome, but that word feels too small for what it really is. It is not just a system or a function, it is community, it is coexistence, a constant wordless conversation between the human and the more than human, between what is you and what has always lived within you. If you listen deeply enough, not with your ears, but with awareness, you can almost sense it. The quiet hum beneath the stillness of your body, the subtle warmth in your chest, the soft pulse in your belly. It is the movement of life within life. You are not a single note. You are a chord, a harmony of countless small voices, each one whispering its part in the song of being alive. Every night as you sleep, this inner world continues. The microbes go on, feeding, dividing, and building. Your cells repair themselves. Your heart keeps time. Your lungs rise and fall like waves against the shore. You drift into dreams, but your body, your small planet, keeps turning. You never truly stop. You only change rhythm. There's comfort in that, isn't there, to know that you are not just in the universe, but that a universe also lives within you, that you are made of cooperation, not just matter, that every piece of you, every atom, every cell, every living particle is part of a much greater conversation that began long before you were born and will continue long after. So, as you lie here breathing softly, think of the galaxies above you and the galaxies within you, both vast, both full of motion, both full of light. You are the meeting point between the infinite and the microscopic, a world within a world, held in balance by the gentle rhythm of breath. Let that thought settle like dust floating in a sunbeam. Let your breath slow, matching the quiet pulse of the life inside you. You are never alone. You are always in motion. You are and always have been a universe of your own, soft, mysterious, endlessly alive. And as you drift toward sleep, the small world within you keeps turning patient, luminous, and calm, carrying you gently through the night, deep in the warm rainforests of South America, where light filters gently through green canopies, and the air hums with life. Something remarkable moves across the forest floor. It looks like a dark river, twisting, shifting, never stopping. But if you look closer, you'll see it isn't water at all. It's alive. It's an army of ants, moving as 1,000s of tiny bodies flowing in a single, steady rhythm. They are called army ants, and together they move like a heartbeat through the jungle. No map, no leader, no command, only instinct, trust, and connection. Each ant knows just enough to follow, to hold, to move in time with the others. Alone, one ant is fragile, but together they are a living organism, flexible and intelligent in ways that seem almost impossible. As they march, they encounter obstacles, a gap between two branches, a fallen log, a hole in the earth. For a moment, the column slows. The ants at the front hesitate, sensing the emptiness ahead. And then, without a signal, something astonishing happens. They begin to build a bridge, not from wood or leaves, but from their own bodies. One ant grabs hold of a branch, another grips its leg, then another and another. They link themselves together, dozens, then hundreds, until their bodies form a living chain. The others climb across carrying larvae and food moving safely over the gap. The bridge trembles slightly, but holds firm. No single ant knows the whole plan yet. Together, they create it perfectly. There is no rush, no struggle, only a quiet coordination that feels almost peaceful. They don't think about the bridge they are building. They simply become it. And when the last ant crosses, the bridge dissolves. The ones who formed it loosen their hold, fall gently back to the forest floor, and the river of life continues to flow. Scientists call this a kind of collective intelligence, a mind made not of one brain, but of thousands working in perfect unison. There's no leader shouting orders, no one telling the others what to do. Each ant follows simple rules, yet together they form something far greater than themselves. In their silence, there is wisdom. In their simplicity, there is grace. It's strange, isn't it? How something so small can build something so beautiful and then let it go without hesitation. The bridge exists only for as long as it is needed. No pride, no memory, no possession. Just purpose, fulfilled, then released. In a world where so much is held too tightly, the ants remind us that even cooperation can be fluid, fleeting, and free. If you could shrink yourself down and walk beside them, you would hear nothing but the faint rustle of movement, the soft rhythm of countless legs brushing against soil and leaves. The forest would feel alive with that quiet motion, like a pulse running through the ground. You might even sense the connection between them, invisible threads of purpose weaving them together into one living being. When night comes, the ants do not truly rest. They gather into a great shifting mass, a bivouac made entirely of their own bodies. The walls, the roof, the floors all are ants, linked together, protecting the colony within. Inside, the queen rests, the young are fed, and the air hums softly with warmth. Even in sleep, they are together, a breathing, moving structure of unity. Their way of living has no waste, no excess. Every action serves something greater. They build, they cross, they take apart, and move again, an endless cycle of making and unmaking. In this rhythm, there is something deeply soothing, something that mirrors the pulse of the earth itself. Build, dissolve, build again. It's the same pattern that shapes rivers, stars, and even dreams. You might think of them as simple, but perhaps they are only quiet enough to hear the world's rhythm and move in harmony with it. The ants do not question the gap before them, nor fear it. They see it, they feel it, they move on. And maybe that's a kind of wisdom too, the wisdom of being completely present, of doing what must be done without resistance or hesitation. As you listen now, breathe in that stillness. Imagine the ants flowing through the forest in the dim moonlight, small, tireless, and endlessly patient. Imagine their living bridges stretching and folding in silence, their movements guided not by orders but by trust. Every connection, every step, every pause is part of something vast and unseen. And maybe as you drift towards sleep, you can feel a bit of that same connection within yourself, the sense that you, too, are part of something larger, something quietly intelligent that holds all living things together, just as the ants link to form a bridge. You are linked to the world around you, to the air, the trees, the stars, and the soft rhythm of your own breath. Let that thought rest gently in your mind. Life, like the ants, builds and dissolves, connects, and lets go, always moving forward in calm, patient flow. There is beauty in the bridge, yes, but there is also beauty in the moment it fades. Now close your eyes. The forest is dark. The ants are still marching. The earth is turning softly beneath you. Everything is connected quietly, endlessly, perfectly, and you are part of that great silent bridge. Far below, the sunlit waves, where the ocean turns dark and sound fades into stillness, something graceful drifts through the blue. Its arms move like silk, in slow motion, curling and uncurling, as though it were dancing to a rhythm only the sea can hear. It is the octopus, a being so quiet, so mysterious, that even in a world full of wonders, it feels like a secret the ocean has chosen to keep. The octopus doesn't just live in the ocean, it belongs to it. Its body seems shaped by water itself, fluid, shifting endlessly, adaptable. It can slip through a hole smaller than its own eye. It can vanish in a heartbeat, blending into coral or sand or shadow, its skin changing color and texture faster than thought. And beneath that shimmering camouflage lies a mind unlike any other, not only intelligent, but deeply aware, capable of something no other creature on Earth can do. Inside its soft, curious body, the octopus can rewrite the language of life. While every other known animal lives within the limits of its DNA, the octopus bends those rules. It edits its own RNA, the molecules that translate genetic instructions into reality. With these edits, it can change the way its genes are expressed without ever touching the DNA blueprint. It's as though it can rewrite its own story, one line at a time, whenever the world around it shifts. When the water grows colder, it adjusts the chemistry of its body to stay in tune with the sea. When it needs to see differently or sense more keenly, it can alter how its neurons behave. No laboratory, no machine, no plan, only the quiet precision of evolution and instinct. Its body listens to the ocean and responds moment by moment with grace. Scientists call this process RNA editing, but to think of it only in scientific terms feels too small. To watch an octopus move is to see thought take shape, flexible liquid alive. It's as though the ocean itself learned how to think. Every movement is an idea unfolding. Every shift in color, a word unspoken. Its mind doesn't sit in one place like ours. It flows through its arms, through hundreds of independent nerve centers, each one capable of touch of choice of memory. Imagine that, for a moment, a creature that thinks with its skin. Each arm can taste, feel, and decide on its own, yet all remain part of a single consciousness. It's a kind of intelligence we can barely imagine, not linear, not fixed, but circular and fluid, like the tides. The octopus doesn't plan or predict. It responds. It listens to the world and becomes what it needs to be. In the dim quiet of the deep, where sunlight never reaches, the octopus glides past rocks and coral that glow faintly in the filtered blue. Its skin ripples with colors that mean nothing to us, patterns that may be signals or emotions or thoughts. Some scientists believe it can even dream its body pulsing with shifting shades as it rests blue, white, amber, as if the ocean were painting its dreams in light. No one truly knows what it feels like to be an octopus, to think in colors instead of words, to move without bones or borders, to change your form as easily as thought. But somehow, in that alien mind, there is gentleness. It doesn't dominate or destroy. It explores. It observes. It drifts through its world without claiming it. A creature of endless curiosity, living proof that intelligence can wear 1,000 faces, not just ours. Sometimes, when a diver meets one under the sea, there's a moment of stillness between them. Two minds utterly different sharing the same water. The octopus might reach out a cautious arm, touch the diver's hand, and then withdraw, disappearing in a swirl of ink and grace. That brief touch soft, fleeting, feels like the ocean itself reaching out to remind us how small and connected we really are. There's something soothing in that thought that even in the coldest depths, where pressure crushes and light cannot reach life, finds a way not just to survive, but to create, to think, to feel. The octopus teaches us that adaptation is not just endurance, it's a kind of artistry, a silent liquid intelligence shaped entirely by the rhythm of the sea. As you breathe now slowly, imagine that world below, the slow drift of water, the shimmer of light over sand, the quiet pulse of something ancient and alive. The ocean does not rush. It moves in long, calm waves, and the octopus moves with it in perfect harmony. Somewhere down there, it is changing again, rewriting itself, reshaping its being, like a poet composing with the molecules of life. You too are changing every moment, cells renewing breath, deepening thoughts dissolving into stillness. You are not separate from the ocean or from the life it holds. You are made of the same elements, following the same quiet rhythm. So rest now. Let your thoughts drift like ink, dispersing through water. Let your body soften, your mind ripple gently in the dark. Somewhere in the deep, the octopus floats calm, luminous, endlessly curious, and in its quiet intelligence, the whole ocean dreams. Somewhere in a quiet room, or under a soft light by the sea, a mirror waits. It's such a simple thing, a flat surface, a reflection of light, and yet it holds one of the deepest mysteries in nature. When we look into a mirror, we see a face that feels familiar, eyes that move when we move, a world that seems to answer us perfectly reversed. It is the moment we recognize ourselves, that subtle shift from seeing to knowing. But what if we weren't the only ones who could do that? What if the spark of recognition, the whisper of I am exists beyond our species, shimmering quietly in the minds of others? In laboratories, aquariums, and forests, scientists have placed mirrors before animals. At first, most simply look. They tilt their heads, circle, or search for the other behind the glass. But a few, very few, pause. They touch their own faces. They turn, they look again. They seem to understand. Somewhere between reflection and awareness, something awakens. Chimpanzees were among the first. When they see a mark on their faces in the mirror, they reach to touch it, not the image, but themselves. It's a gesture so small, so ordinary, yet it carries the weight of realization. That is me. Bottlenose dolphins, graceful and quick also, seem to know. They spin before the glass, inspecting every curve, every scar, every mark, as though meeting themselves for the first time in liquid light. Elephants too have stood before mirrors and done the same, trunk lifting gently to explore a spot on their own faces. The act is quiet, almost reverent. A being of vast size and strength stopping in stillness to look inward. Even magpies, small black feathered birds, have passed the test. They touch colored dots on their necks, seen only in reflection, as if aware that the image and the self are one. And recently, scientists have observed stingrays showing signs of recognition as well. Their bodies gliding past the mirror, pausing, turning back, as though fascinated by the awareness, looking back. It is not proof of human-like consciousness, but something else. A brief glimpse of the thread that runs through all living things. A spark of self that flickers in the darkness and says I exist. It's humbling, isn't it? To think that across oceans, jungles, and skies, Other eyes may also hold that same wonder, the quiet understanding of being. We've long imagined ourselves as separate, as the only ones who look into mirrors and find meaning there. But perhaps consciousness is not a single flame, kept only by humans. Perhaps it's a constellation, a scattering of small, gentle lights shining through the vastness of life. When a dolphin turns its head to see its reflection, it doesn't speak, but its body tells a story of awareness, of curiosity, of something more than instinct. When a crow stares at itself in a window, tilting its head back and forth, there's something alive in that gesture, something familiar, a question we've all asked without words. Who am I? It makes you wonder when a whale breaches and glances at its own reflection on the water, or when your cat pauses at a mirror and looks just for a second, not at you, but at itself. Is there a flicker of that same knowing? Is the universe, through countless eyes and bodies, slowly learning to see itself? Because that's what awareness really is, the universe folding in on itself, recognizing its own reflection in a million different forms, from the great apes in their forests to the birds above the city skies, from the whales beneath the surface to the human watching their own face in a quiet room. It is all one act of looking back at itself. You too are part of that gaze. When you look into a mirror, you are not just seeing yourself, you are witnessing the same light that shines through all living minds. The awareness that allows you to think, "That's me," is the same awareness that breathes in others, different shapes, different languages, same gentle flame. If you close your eyes now, you might still feel it, the sense of being both the observer and the observed, the soft hum of existence. You're not a fixed reflection, but a living process, always shifting, always learning, always becoming. The mirror doesn't hold you. It simply reminds you that you are here, awake, alive, and somewhere out there in the depths of the ocean or the heart of a forest, another being feels a similar moment of recognition, not in words, but in stillness, a spark of, "I am shining quietly in the dark." The world is full of such mirrors, not just glass, but water eyes, moments of calm awareness. Each reflection, another reminder that consciousness is not a single voice, but a quiet choir. So, as you breathe slowly, let that thought settle. You are part of a vast awareness, one that watches itself through waves and wings, trunks and hands, feathers and fins. You're not alone in knowing yourself. You are one reflection among many a single note in a cosmic song of recognition. Now let the mirrors fade, let the lights dim. The world is still looking still, learning to see itself softly, endlessly. And as you drift towards sleep, may you feel the gentle hum of awareness that connects you to every living thing, the quiet shared, knowing that says, "I am here, I am alive, I am part of it all." Over the vast sweep of 500 million years, Earth has fallen silent 5 times. Each time almost all life vanished. Oceans emptied, forests faded, the air itself grew still. But somehow, after every darkness, something small endured a single cell, a stubborn seed, a creature hidden beneath the soil. And from that quiet beginning, life found its way back. The first extinction began in the oceans, when ancient life was soft-bodied and strange. A change in the water, too much carbon, too little air turned abundance into absence. Yet even as coral fields turned to graveyards, a few fragile beings survived. They floated through the dark and waited patient as the tide. When the balance returned, they bloomed again, filling the seas with color. The second came when continents shifted and the world grew cold. Ice spread like sleep across the planet. Whole ecosystems froze and cracked under the weight of time. Still deep in volcanic springs and under the ice, life held its breath and waited for warmth. When it came, the world thawed and the song of survival began again. The third extinction was the most devastating, the Great Dying. Volcanoes poured fire for centuries, choking the sky with ash and poison. Oceans turned sour forests, fell silent, and 9 out of 10 species disappeared forever. Yet somewhere in that silence, life whispered back. Small creatures in the sea endured the heat and the dark. They became the ancestors of everything that would follow, carrying the memory of survival in their cells. Then came the fourth, when the air thinned and oceans shifted once more. Creatures that had learned to walk, swim, and breathe in harmony found the balance change beneath them. Yet again, life adapted. It shaped new bodies, new ways of moving, new forms of resilience. From what was lost, the earth wrote new possibilities. The fifth extinction arrived from the stars. A rock the size of a mountain fell from the sky, striking the planet with the force of 1 billion storms. The dinosaurs, the rulers of the world, for millions of years were gone in days. Ash covered the sunlight. The planet dimmed into night. But in burrows and cracks, beneath leaves, small mammals stirred and survived. From them came the long line that would one day lead to us. It's easy to think of extinction as an ending, but the Earth has always known how to begin again. In every age, life has found new shapes, new voices, new ways to breathe. From coral to fern, from lizard to bird, from stone to mind. Even when the sky burned or the oceans boiled, life found a rhythm. It curled into the smallest corners, waiting for the right moment to open its eyes once more. We are made from that same endurance. The blood that moves within you, the breath you take as you lie here, now carries the history of every creature that ever survived the impossible. Somewhere deep inside, your cells remember. They remember heat and hunger, the long nights of ice, the first light after centuries of dark. You are not just alive. You are the continuation of everything that refused to disappear. If you could listen closely to the Earth's heartbeat, you would hear it pulsing with quiet resilience. It has broken and mended itself more times than we can count. It has learned that stillness is not the same as death, that silence is not the end. Life pauses, adapts, transforms, and when the time is right, it returns. So, as you breathe slowly, now imagine the planet beneath you softly spinning, carrying the memory of all that has been lost and found. Imagine the forests regrowing after fire, coral rebuilding under new light, the tiny heartbeat of something just beginning. The world is still healing, still growing, still dreaming. Every ending in nature holds the seed of a new beginning. Even when it seems all is gone, life waits quietly beneath the surface. It never gives up. It only rests. And you, like everything that has ever lived, are part of that unbroken thread, the gentle, unending will to continue. Let that thought cradle you as you drift into rest. The earth has ended 5 times, and yet here it is alive and breathing beneath you. You are part of its endurance, part of its renewal, the same rhythm that brought coral from stone and birds from ash beats softly within you. Close your eyes. Feel the calm weight of survival in every breath. The planet turns, the night deepens, and somewhere in that quiet life begins again, deep within the shade of tropical forests, where the air is warm and damp, something quiet and extraordinary unfolds. Sunlight barely reaches the forest floor here. The world moves, slowly leaves, breathes moss, glows faintly with dew, and life hums beneath the soil. But beneath that peace lies a story almost too strange to believe. A story written not by animals or trees, but by something smaller, older, and far more patient. A fungus. There is a kind of fungus that does not simply grow on the forest floor. Instead, it grows within living creatures. When its tiny spores drift through the air and land upon an ant, the story begins. At first, nothing seems to change. The ant continues its daily work climbing, carrying, following invisible trails laid down by its colony. But quietly, beneath its shell, the fungus begins to spread. It moves through muscle and tissue, finding its way to the mind. Days pass, and the ant starts to act differently. It leaves the trail. It climbs a plant higher than usual, higher than reason. When it reaches the right spot, a perfect height, perfect light, perfect humidity, it bites down on the stem and stays there. It does not move again. The forest is silent, and in that stillness, something ancient and precise continues. From the back of the ant's head, the fungus begins to grow, a slender stalk reaching toward the air. When it matures, the stalk bursts open, releasing a cloud of new spores into the wind. Each spore drifts gently through the air, looking for another host. The cycle begins again, cold, efficient, and yet strangely beautiful, a choreography written by evolution itself. Scientists call it Ophiocordyceps unilateralis, a fungus that has learned to control its host's body like a marionette. It does not have eyes or thoughts or intention, and yet through millions of years, it has perfected the ability to take over another life just long enough to ensure its own continuation. No cruelty, no malice, just the silent mathematics of survival. It's unsettling, perhaps, to imagine something so small holding such power. But in truth, this too is nature. Not good, not evil, simply balanced. Every life form, from the tiniest spore to the tallest tree, has a part to play in the great script of the forest. Even the ant, though lost, becomes a vessel for new beginnings. In its stillness, life continues. If you were to walk through such a forest, you might never notice them. The small bodies frozen among the leaves, a faint stalk reaching skyward. The air would be heavy with humidity, the scent of soil and decay rich and alive. To the untrained eye, nothing moves. But beneath the stillness, every grain of earth is in motion, fungi digesting, recycling, weaving the hidden threads of the forest's life. Fungi are nature's quiet architects. They connect roots, to roots turning death into nourishment, keeping balance where chaos might reign. The same kingdom that controls the ant also gives birth to mushrooms after rain and breaks fallen trees back into soil. It creates, destroys, and rebuilds, without sound, without rest. In that way, it mirrors the earth itself, endlessly transforming, endlessly beginning again. What seems cruel is in truth part of the cycle that keeps the forest alive. The fungus never wastes. It uses what it takes and gives back what it cannot keep. Life, death, and renewal, all written in the same invisible ink. There is something strangely peaceful in that understanding, something that softens even the harshest edges of survival. The forest is full of such stories, quiet dramas unfolding in the still air. None of them are told aloud, yet each one matters. Every spore, every ant, every leaf plays its role. No creature rules, and none are spared from the laws of balance. Even when life seems cruel, it moves toward harmony. Even when it seems still, it breathes. If you close your eyes now, you can almost feel that slow rhythm, the pulse of the forest beneath your feet, the unseen threads connecting all things. The air smells of rain, an earth full of invisible life. The story of the ant and the fungus is not one of fear, but of continuation, the quiet promise that nothing in nature truly ends. Everything becomes something else. We too are part of that same story. Inside us, fungi live in harmony, helping us digest, protecting us in ways we barely understand. Life does not separate itself into good and bad. It simply intertwines endlessly, adapting. The forest reminds us of that every ending is the beginning of another form of life. So as you breathe now, slow and deep, think of the forest in its eternal dusk, green light filtering through leaves, air thick with spores of possibility. Somewhere, a tiny ant climbs its final stem. Somewhere else, a new one stirs. The pattern repeats quiet and sure. It is not tragedy. It is the rhythm of being. Let your thoughts drift with that rhythm. The forest is vast, alive, and self-writing. Every creature seen and unseen plays its part. And as you close your eyes, remember, even in the shadows, even in silence, life is still at work, weaving its stories beneath the leaves. Blue seems to be everywhere in the sky above, in the ocean stretching to the horizon, in the delicate wings of a butterfly fluttering beneath sunlight. But in truth, real blue is one of the rarest colors in nature. The sky is not truly blue. The sea holds no blue pigment. Even most living things that appear blue do not contain the color they created. If you could look closely, far closer than your eyes allow, you would see that what we call blue is often an illusion, a dance of light, rather than a drop of dye. The wings of a morpho butterfly shimmer because of microscopic structures that scatter light, bending and twisting it until only the bluest wavelengths reach your eyes. The same is true for peacock feathers, for the skin of some frogs, for the plumage of a jay. No pigment, no paint, only light shaped into beauty. This is what scientists call structural color, a design so small, so perfect, that it fools even sunlight. Each scale, each feather, is built like a labyrinth of mirrors, guiding light through narrow spaces until it emerges as blue. Change the angle and the color changes with it. That's why the blue of a butterfly wing seems to move and breathe, fading and returning as you shift your gaze. It isn't just color, it's a performance. And yet, this trick of light feels deeply peaceful. Blue, whether in the sky or the sea or the shimmer of an insect, has always carried a sense of calm. It's the color of distance, of depth, of quiet. Perhaps that's why it soothes us. When you look at the horizon, your eyes are seeing scattering the short wavelengths of light bouncing through air molecules, but your heart feels something else. Openness, tranquility, the slow rhythm of space. Even the blue of the ocean is born not from pigment, but from reflection and absorption. Water swallows the longer, warmer colors, reds, yellows, and leaves behind only blue. The deeper you go, the more it intensifies, until everything fades into that endless shade. It's not the color of the sea itself. It's the color of what remains after everything else has been taken away. It's strange, isn't it? How something so rare in matter can feel so vast in sight. The Earth from space is blue, yet there are almost no truly blue minerals or creatures within it. It's as if the planet decided to wear a color made only of light, a gentle disguise, woven from physics and reflection. The world isn't made of blue. It only appears that way when light and matter whisper to each other in just the right way. Perhaps that's what makes it so captivating. Blue feels like a secret we're allowed to glimpse but never hold. You can't grind it from stone or draw it from sap. You can't capture it in your hands. It exists only in the moment of perception, in the meeting between light and life. It is the color of things that don't truly exist, yet feel more real than anything we can touch. If you sit quietly beneath the sky and watch the clouds drift, you're watching that illusion unfold, rayly scattering, turning sunlight into serenity. The same light that paints the sky blue at midday will turn it gold by evening and black by night. Nothing changes but your angle, your time, your presence. The world is not constant. It glows, shifts, and breathes. Butterflies do the same. The morpho's wings under the dim light of dusk may seem gray or brown, but when the morning sun returns, they blaze alive again. The color is not in them, it is in the light returning. Like the sky, like the sea, they do not keep their beauty. They become it anew each day. There is something deeply soothing about that thought, that beauty doesn't always come from what a thing is, but from how it meets the world around it. The blue we see is the result of interaction, light meeting, matter perception, meeting truth. It is not a fixed trait, it is a relationship. So when you look around at the sky, fading toward twilight, at the calm face of water, at the feather of a bird, remember that what you see is not pigment, but physics performing softly before your eyes. The universe, through reflection and refraction, creates illusions, not to deceive us, but to remind us that even the simplest acts of light can make the world glow. Breathe in that color, now cool, weightless, infinite. Let it calm your thoughts. The blue of the world is a lullaby, written in photons, a quiet trick of light that turns emptiness into wonder. The sky above you is not truly blue, but as you lie beneath it, that hardly matters. The illusion is enough. The beauty, though fleeting, is real in the moment you see it. And as night slowly gathers, the blue fades to indigo, then to black. Yet even then, somewhere beyond your sight, light is still scattering, still dancing, still making blue for another sky. The world never stops shining, it only rests. Just like you will now, across the golden plains of Africa, where the air shimmers with heat and the wind carries the scent of dry grass, a herd of elephants moves slowly under the open sky. Their steps are heavy, yet unhurried, each one echoing with a rhythm older than memory. Among them, the matriarch leads wise, calm, her eyes holding decades of journeys, births, droughts, and rains. But today, her pace slows. She stops. The others stop too. Ahead, on the sun-bleached earth, lies a scatter of bones. The elephants approach in silence. They do not rush. They do not fear. Their great shadows stretch long across the ground as they come to stand beside what remains of one of their own. The matriarch lowers her head and extends her trunk, slow, deliberate, gentle. She touches the skull, tracing its curves, as if remembering. One by one, the others follow. They do not speak, but the air feels full heavy with something almost human, a stillness that is not emptiness but recognition. Scientists have seen this moment many times. Wild elephants coming upon the bones of another elephant stop and touch and wait. Sometimes they linger for minutes, sometimes for hours. Sometimes they return to the same spot year after year. No one knows exactly what they think or if they understand death the way we do, but something deep in their stillness feels like mourning, not the kind that cries, but the kind that stands quietly beside loss and simply breathes. It is said that elephants remember. They remember the paths their ancestors walked, the places where rain once fell, the trees that once gave shade. And maybe they remember faces too, the warmth of a mother's breath, the sound of an old friend's footsteps. When they stop by, the bones, perhaps it is not thought, but feeling a stirring of memory, older than words, soft ache of familiarity. Watch closely, and you'll see their trunks move with extraordinary tenderness. They lift rib bones and tusks, holding them for a moment before setting them back down. They do not do this with the bones of other animals, only their own. It is as if they know or sense that something precious once lived here. The act itself is enough. No reason, no ritual, just quiet empathy shaped into movement. When a member of their herd dies, elephants sometimes gather around the body. They may touch it gently with trunks and feet. Calves nudge their mothers confused as the adults stand unmoving. Some will stay through the night, guarding the body, until at last the herd moves on. Even then, they often look back, a final gesture, before the tall grass swallows what was. There is something profoundly calming in the way they mourn. No sound, no struggle, only presence. It's as though they understand that grief cannot be rushed. It has to be carried slowly, step by step, until it softens into memory. The elephants don't try to fix what's gone. They simply remain, allowing sadness to exist without breaking them. In their stillness, there is grace. Perhaps this is why being near elephants feels so grounding. They move with such deep awareness, each step a quiet dialogue with the earth. They remind us that strength and gentleness are not opposites, but partners. That to be large and powerful does not mean to be unfeeling. Their hearts are vast, not just in size, but in capacity for memory, for emotion, for connection. Imagine standing there with them, the sun low, the grass whispering the herd, surrounding the bones in calm silence. The light glows golden on their skin, and time itself seems to slow. There is no fear, no hurry, no explanation needed. Only the steady breath of life standing beside what once was life. It is not sadness alone that fills the air, but something deeper, respect, a recognition that existence, no matter how great or brief, deserves stillness. Even after they leave, the feeling lingers. The place where they stood seems to hum with quiet weight, as if the earth itself remembers. Years later, when the herd passes that way again, some will stop once more. They will pause, smell the air, and reach out gently to touch what remains. Perhaps they are remembering, or perhaps they are simply acknowledging, saying in their own silent way, "You were here, and we remember." There is a lesson in their silence, that to mourn is not to despair, but to honor. That grief held gently becomes love's echo. Elephants do not turn away from what is painful. They face it with softness, They do not hurry the moment, nor try to explain it. They just stay as long as they need to, and then continue their path through the endless grass. So, as you breathe slowly, now imagine that stillness. Feel the weight of the world growing softer around you. The herd moves on beneath the fading sun, their silhouettes melting into the horizon. Somewhere behind them, bones rest quietly beneath the dust, not forgotten, only folded into memory. Life continues. Grief becomes peace. And under the vast African sky, the elephants keep walking, carrying with them the gentle wisdom of knowing when to stand still. Beneath the slow rhythm of the sea, in places where sunlight filters down in pale ribbons, there rises a city built by patience. Its towers shimmer in colors no painter could ever hold. Pinks, golds, soft blues, and ghostly whites, all shaped by creatures no larger than a grain of rice. These are coral polyps, tiny animals with soft bodies and delicate mouths, and together they build one of the most magnificent structures on Earth, the coral reef. Each small polyp lives in a limestone cup of its own making. Bit by bit, it releases calcium carbonate, a fragile layer, thin as a sigh that hardens into stone. When millions of them live side by side year after year, their skeletons form vast underwater walls, arches, and gardens. It is slow work, almost motionless, yet unstoppable. Over centuries, what began as a cluster of invisible lives becomes a world, a living cathedral beneath the waves. Inside these coral cities, life thrives. Fish shimmer like living jewels between the branches. Sea anemones drift like curtains of silk. Starfish and sea urchins crawl across coral streets that never sleep. The reef hums with quiet energy, everything breathing, feeding, hiding, and growing in perfect balance. It is said that a quarter of all ocean life depends on coral reefs. They are the lungs and heartbeat of the tropical seas. At night, when the surface world rests, the reef glows softly in bioluminescent color. Plankton shimmer like stardust, and tiny shrimp click faintly in the dark. It feels almost sacred, this hush beneath the waves, an ancient breathing architecture that has existed longer than forests, longer even than the mountains that shape the continents. And yet the builders are so small. Each coral polyp stretches out its tiny tentacles to catch passing food, then retreats into its limestone home. It cannot move or fight. It cannot leave. But by living together, billions of them create something vast enough to shape coastlines, to still the sea's anger, to protect the shores where we live. There is power in such gentleness, in the patience of something that builds molecule by molecule into eternity. The secret to the reef's brilliance lies in a partnership, a quiet friendship written in light. Within each coral polyp lives an alga, a microscopic plant that turns sunlight into energy. The coral shelters it, and in return, the alga feeds the coral with the sugars it creates. Together, they make color, warmth, and life. Without one, the other fades, and when the ocean grows too warm, that delicate bond breaks. The algae leave, and the coral turns white, a ghost of what it was. But even then, not all is lost. In time, when the water cools again, the coral can recover, welcoming new partners, new life. Like the earth itself, it knows how to begin again. The reef's beauty is fragile, but its spirit endures. It is built not of strength, but of connection. If you could dive among these corals, you would see patterns that look almost human, networks, cooperation, harmony. Nothing here grows alone. Every piece depends on every other. Tiny fish clean the coral. The coral shelters them in return. Larger fish patrol the edges, keeping balance, protecting the delicate order. The reef is not just a place, it is an agreement, millions of small promises kept every day. There is something deeply peaceful in watching it. The water moves slowly, rocking everything into rhythm. Fish drift between coral towers, like thoughts passing through a dream. The light bends softly, scattering in blue and gold. It feels like time itself has slowed to a whisper. In this quiet, you can feel what the ocean knows, that the greatest things are built not by force but by patience. The reef reminds us that greatness can come from the smallest acts, from what we build together, gently over time. Every colony begins with one polyp, every structure with one breath, one movement, one quiet beginning. Life's resilience doesn't roar, it accumulates. It grows silently into something breathtaking. And just like the coral, we too are builders, not of stone, but of moments, of kindness, of care. Each choice we make, each act of understanding, adds a small piece to the structure of something greater. Perhaps that's why coral reefs feel so familiar, even though they belong to another world. They are mirrors of what we can be when we live in harmony. Now, imagine the sea at dusk, the reef resting beneath a velvet sky. The water grows cooler, the colors deepen, the coral polyps stretch out their tiny arms, gathering the ocean's offerings. One last time before night folds over them, everything moves. Slowly waves light life, and in that stillness, the reef glows faintly alive with the pulse of millions of tiny hearts. Close your eyes and listen for that rhythm, soft, endless, and calm. The coral's patience is the ocean's lullaby, a reminder that beauty is built in silence, that connection creates endurance, and that even the smallest lives can build a world that lasts forever. In the damp stillness of a forest floor, beneath rotting leaves and fallen branches, something golden begins to move. It glides so slowly you could watch for hours and never see it take a step. It has no face, no eyes, no limbs, not even a brain. And yet somehow, it can solve problems that once belonged only to creatures that think. This is slime mold, a being both simple and extraordinary proof that intelligence can take forms we never imagined. Slime mold is just a single cell, a mass of living jelly that flows like liquid thought. It doesn't have nerves, yet it senses. It doesn't have memory, yet it remembers. When faced with a maze, scientists have watched it do something astonishing. It spreads through every path, explores, and then retreats, leaving only the shortest route between itself and the food. Without a mind, it finds the answer. Without planning, it discovers the perfect path. It does this by testing the world, not by thinking about it. Tiny ripples move through its body like waves of decision. It stretches forward, feels the environment, then pulls back from what doesn't work. Over time, it shapes itself into efficiency. It learns not through thought, but through motion. It's a lesson written in silence that intelligence is not only in the brain, but in the act of interacting, of being alive and responsive. If you could watch it closely, under a microscope, it would look like sunlight sliding through honey, shifting, pulsing, shimmering with faint light. It creeps across bark, across soil, across fallen pine needles, leaving behind threads of its journey. Wherever it travels, it carries the memory of success paths that led to food stay open, paths that led to nowhere slowly fade. It is trial and error made beautiful. What makes slime mold so mysterious is how it cooperates with itself. Each part of its body acts as both individual and whole. There's no leader, no command center, no voice giving orders. Every piece responds to the conditions around it, yet all move together in harmony. Scientists call this distributed intelligence decision making, without hierarchy awareness, without a mind. Perhaps that's why watching it feels oddly calming. There is no rush, no panic, no hesitation. Just flow, expansion, contraction, exploration, rest. It moves like a breath, like the slow rhythm of the earth itself thinking. When researchers placed food sources in the pattern of Japanese cities, slime mold grew in the shape of Tokyo's railway system, not by chance, but because it found the most efficient way to connect every point. The same patterns have been seen when it's tested with maps of other regions. Somehow, without logic or language, it mirrors the designs we consider advanced. The slime mold reminds us that nature had already solved what we call complex long before we arrived to study it. Its intelligence is soft. It does not conquer or compete. It connects. It teaches that knowing does not always require speed or sound, that wisdom can move through stillness. In its slow, deliberate way, slime mold shows that life can adapt and solve even without thought. It doesn't resist uncertainty, it explores it. And in that exploration lies its genius. There's something profoundly peaceful in this kind of knowing, the kind that doesn't rush to conclusions, that feels its way through the world. Maybe that's why humans too find clarity when we stop forcing answers and simply allow them to emerge. Like the slime mold, we can learn by moving, by sensing, by flowing through possibility rather than fighting it. If you imagine its world, it's a place of constant contact, moisture wood, the scent of decay, the pulse of invisible life beneath the soil. Everything is information, everything is texture. It moves in rhythm with the breath of the forest, expanding at dawn when dew settles, shrinking at noon when the air grows dry. Its choices are written in motion, not thought. And yet, if you follow that golden thread long enough, you begin to see a pattern, not chaos, but quiet intelligence. The slime mold builds networks, connects distant food sources, and repairs itself when cut apart. Separate pieces can reunite and recognize one another as self. It knows what it is, even without a brain to tell it so. That realization feels almost cosmic, that consciousness may not belong only to those who think, but also to those who feel the world directly. That awareness might begin not in the head, but in the act of being connected. As you breathe, now slowly, softly, think of that, a mind without a brain, a wisdom that moves through the forest unseen. It doesn't hurry, and neither should you. It flows where it must go, learns what it needs to know, and then rests. Perhaps life itself thinks this way through every leaf, every root, every ripple of connection between things. In the end, the slime mold leaves behind no monuments, no sounds, no footprints, only traces, faint maps of light and motion, of problems solved and paths remembered. The forest absorbs them, and the cycle begins again. Close your eyes. Let your thoughts wander like that golden thread, exploring, sensing, and gently letting go. Intelligence doesn't have to speak. It can simply move softly, slowly, perfectly through the quiet maze of life, far across the curve of the earth, where the air hums with warmth and life lies the Amazon, a vast green ocean of leaves. From above it looks endless, like the planet's own heartbeat, pulsing beneath clouds. But the forest is more than trees. It is a living machine, a quiet miracle that makes its own rain. Each day, billions of leaves exhale invisible threads of water, vapor breaths that rise slowly into the sky, weaving together until they become clouds. It begins with sunlight. As morning touches the canopy, the forest awakens. Mist lifts from the leaves, rising into air, heavy with scent and song. The trees stretch, opening their tiny pores to breathe. Through those openings, they release moisture, not droplets, but vapor, fine and weightless as thought. The air fills with it until you can almost see the shimmer, the haze of life itself ascending. This vapor climbs higher, still cooling as it meets the upper air. There it condenses into clouds soft white, swollen with promise. Hours later, the rain begins. It falls gently through the same trees that summoned it, feeding roots, rivers, soil. And then the process begins again. Water becomes breath, becomes rain, rain becomes river. And the circle continues unbroken, self-sustaining, infinitely patient. That is how the Amazon keeps itself alive. It is not just a forest. It is a living cycle. A great green engine that turns sunlight into water and water into life. In every drop of rain that falls here, there is a whisper of the forest's breath. The same rain that nourishes orchids and vines will drift down rivers, join the sea rise again as clouds, and return home. Scientists call this process evapotranspiration, but the word feels too small for what it really is. It is the forest dreaming water into being. It is billions of trees breathing together, a pulse of moisture that beats in time with the sky. The Amazon doesn't wait for rain, it makes it. And in doing so, it shapes weather not only for itself, but for the world beyond. Much of South America's rainfall begins as vapor released by these trees. Even the clouds that drift across oceans feeding distant lands carry the forest's signature. The Amazon gives endlessly quietly without asking for anything in return. It is not just the lungs of the earth, as people often say. It is the heart pumping moisture instead of blood, circulating life instead of air. But when the forest is cut down, the rhythm falters. Each tree that falls takes with it 1,000 breaths of water. The air dries the clouds thin, and the rains begin to fade. Rivers shrink, soils crack, and the once green landscape grows pale. The heart slows its beat. What was once a self-sustaining cycle begins to break apart. Still, the forest endures. Even damaged, even fragmented, it continues to breathe. The remaining trees stretch their roots deeper, reaching for the water below. The rains that do come are caught, held, and sent upward again. It's as if the forest remembers what it was and refuses to let go. If you could walk beneath its canopy, you would feel that pulse in the air. The humidity clings to your skin, the smell of soil and leaf fills every breath. Around you, everything is alive. Vines twist in slow motion. Insects hum like tiny machines. Frogs sing through curtains of mist. You can almost hear the exchange taking place, air becoming water, becoming sky. At dawn, the forest feels weightless. Mist drifts between the trees, curling through beams of light like smoke. The air is thick but soft, wrapping around you like warm breath. And then, as afternoon arrives, clouds gather overhead, enormous, luminous, full of rain. Thunder rolls through the distance, low and steady, like the sound of the forest's own voice. Soon, the rain falls drumming against the leaves, washing away the dust, cooling the earth. It is not just weather, it is the forest speaking to itself. Every droplet that lands becomes part of something greater, a conversation between tree and sky, soil and river. The Amazon is not passive, it is responsive, alive, aware in its own way. It adjusts, balances, corrects, and heals. It teaches that life is not a one-way exchange, but a dialogue, continuous, generous, and patient. And perhaps that is what makes it so sacred. The forest is not only a home for creatures and plants, but a living example of cooperation. Every leaf, every root, every breath contributes to something larger than itself. The trees do not compete, they collaborate. The rivers do not hoard, they share. Together they create the conditions that allow everything else to thrive. As night descends, the rain slows, the sky clears, and the forest exhales once more. Moonlight shimmers on wet leaves, turning the canopy silver. Somewhere in the distance, water drips from vines into pools that will feed the rivers again. The air cools, but the rhythm continues quiet, steady, eternal. Close your eyes and imagine that heartbeat, the pulse of moisture, rising and falling like breath. The Amazon is still breathing tonight, sending invisible rivers of water into the sky. Even as the world sleeps, it keeps working softly, endlessly, to hold the balance of life. And as you drift toward sleep, remember this: every drop of rain, every breeze that brushes your skin, every cloud above you carries a trace of that forest's breath. The Amazon is far away, but its rhythm touches everything. It is the heart of the planet, and even in silence, it keeps the world alive. Beneath the quiet soil, time itself is resting. Hidden under dust and silence, a seed lies, still small, dry, almost lifeless to the eye. Yet inside that tiny shell, an entire future is waiting: the memory of rain, the shape of leaves, the pulse of a life that has not yet begun. It does not struggle. It does not move. It simply waits, trusting that the right moment will come. Some seeds wait for a season, some for centuries. Deep in the desert, a date seed once slept for 2,000 years, untouched, unmoving, surviving through endless days of heat and wind. And then, when it was finally placed in warm soil and given water, it awoke. The shell cracked, a single root reached down, and a green shoot rose toward the sun. Time, which had been sleeping inside it, opened its eyes. Every seed carries that quiet strength. It holds not just life, but patience, a kind of knowing that doesn't rush. Inside, its energy rests, like a heartbeat slowed almost to stillness. It doesn't fear darkness, for darkness is where life gathers itself. Beneath layers of soil, it listens for warmth, for rain, for the whisper that says now. When that moment arrives, the change is gentle. The shell softens. The invisible spark becomes movement. A root grows down before the stem rises up, because even the smallest life knows to seek steadiness first. Growth doesn't burst forward. It unfolds, a slow conversation between earth and light. There's something deeply soothing about that rhythm, the way life takes its time. The seed doesn't fight against waiting. It becomes part of it. Waiting is not absence. It is preparation. What looks like stillness is quiet creation. Beneath the surface, the world is always working, always readying itself to bloom again. If you close your eyes, you can imagine them, billions of seeds, asleep beneath the world's skin, each one holding the memory of a tree, a flower, a forest not yet born. Some will wake soon, some will wait beyond our lifetimes, but they are all there, breathing slowly, holding hope in silence. Even in the coldest corners of the earth, life is simply sleeping, never gone. And maybe in some way, we are the same. There are moments in our lives when nothing seems to grow, when everything feels still. But that stillness isn't the end. It's a pause, a gathering of strength beneath the surface. Like a seed, we wait quietly, storing light for the season to come. So, breathe softly, like the soil around a sleeping seed. Let your thoughts settle. Let time slow. Growth doesn't happen in noise or haste. It happens in patience, in quiet, in rest. Somewhere beneath the surface, life is still listening, still preparing to rise. The world turns gently above the night, deepens, and the seeds dream on, not lost, not forgotten, only waiting for the return of light. Close your eyes for a moment and let everything grow quiet. Beneath the rhythm of your breathing, beneath the gentle weight of your body resting, there is a story unfolding, one that began long before you were born. The atoms that form your bones, your blood, your skin, they were not made here. They were forged in the hearts of ancient stars in moments of light and fire billions of years ago. When those stars reached the end of their lives, they exploded, scattering their elements across space like seeds. From that dust, our world was born, and from that world the calcium in your bones, once glowed inside a burning star. The iron that moved through your blood once belonged to a sun that died to give life to others. The oxygen you breathe, the carbon that shapes your cells, all of it carries the memory of something vast, something older than time as we know it. You are not separate from the universe. You are what it made of itself to know it was alive. Every heartbeat is a rhythm, first set in motion by the birth of stars. Every breath is the echo of cosmic expansion. The light you see when you close your eyes, faint, shifting, warm, is the same light that has traveled across billions of years to reach you. The universe does not simply surround you, it moves through you. You are part of its endless pulse, the living continuation of its dream. When you breathe in, the earth breathes with you. The air entering your lungs was once part of oceans, forests, clouds, even the breath of others who came before you. The planet is alive in the same way you are, with quiet rhythms, gentle cycles, endless renewal. It exhales through wind and rain. It inhales through leaf and wave. And you, in this moment, are part of that great shared breath. If you listen closely, you can almost hear it, the soft hum, beneath all things, the music of existence itself. It is not loud, not dramatic. It is steady, patient, and kind. It moves through the ground beneath you, through the roots of trees, through the stars that still burn above. You are held in that harmony, as natural and necessary as the light that touches the morning. The world around you does not ask for anything. It simply continues waves, folding into waves, seasons, following one another, life rising and resting in its own time. You belong to that flow. Every thought you've had, every dream, every quiet moment, they're all ripples in the same vast ocean of being. You are a part of something that never truly ends, something that was here long before us and will remain long after. And yet in this small fragment of infinity, the universe experiences itself through you. Through your senses, it feels the warmth of the sun, the softness of rain, the taste of air after a storm. Through your eyes, it looks back at itself and wonders. Through your heartbeat, it remembers that it is alive. You are the way the cosmos pauses to feel. So breathe again slowly. Feel the air move in and out a gentle tide, connecting you to everything that ever was. The stars above are not distant. They are your relatives, your ancestors. You are their continuation, their voice, their awareness, carried forward in time. The same forces that shaped galaxies are shaping you even now in each quiet breath. As you drift toward sleep, imagine the earth turning softly beneath you, oceans shimmering in moonlight forests, exhaling mist mountains, dreaming in silence. The planet keeps its rhythm steady and slow, cradling you in its rotation. Nothing is still yet, nothing is rushing. All of it moves together in balance. You are safe here in this great unfolding. The stars will keep shining, the tides will keep rising, the world will keep turning, all while you rest. You don't need to do anything, just breathe and let the vastness of creation hold you. Tonight, as you fall into sleep, remember this: you are not a small thing in a large universe. You are the universe, awake, breathing, and dreaming of itself. Rest now, little fragment of starlight. The story will continue through you, softly, endlessly, until the morning comes again.